All right. And here we
This
are.
meeting is being recorded.
Oh, did you all hear that? That's weird. So this meeting is being recorded. Jen, great to see you back. Let's
Hi,
do
I just thought I'd pop on and see how things were going.
yeah. So let's just do a quick quick roundtable of introductions of just, you know, who you are, where you teach, whatever, if you're teaching. And then, so the way that we've done this before is after you speak, and we all have our names on, right? So you can just, and then just call on somebody else. And so we've got 12 of us. And if we come down and you're not sure if somebody's gone, just ask, right? You raise your hand. So I'm Susan Walker. I'm from the University of Minnesota. For the next, hang on, for the next, hold it, 125 days, 11 hours and 55 minutes and 50 seconds. Oh, great. So 125 more days.
Who's counting?
But who's counting? My app is, and reminding me. So anyway, so yeah, so I'm from the University of Minnesota and from the world. And I will go to Jen. Jaros.
I am Jen Jaros. I coordinate the ECFE program in Duluth Public Schools. And how's it going? It's going all right, I think. Yeah, I think it's going all right. Ellen, your turn.
I'm Ellen. I teach in Northfield. And I pick Abby.
Hi, everybody. I'm Abby. I teach in Wilmer, ECFE and Parent Ed. And I'll go to Britta.
Hi, I'm Britta. I'm in Roseville. I'll go to Leah.
Hi, I'm Leah, and I am in my student teaching semester. And I'm also just listening in, jumping in when I can. I'm helping my kids with their distance learning as well.
Yes,
see they're
Leah's
helping
daughter,
you too.
the camera works. Leah, before you move on to somebody else, where are you student teaching?
I'm she's yeah, okay. You're MPS. I live in Seward in Minneapolis. And so yeah. I'm excited, but we're Minneapolis is all distance learning right now.
Yeah.
And my children, so we can flip and do the Zoom meeting observation for a little bit and hope for good things. I currently have COVID, and my kids just got done with their COVID, so it's not very fun. We've been cooped up for probably 2.5 weeks.
Oh,
yeah.
We're with you. Thanks, Leah. Do you want to pick somebody else?
Sure. Maybe.
Hello, everybody. I'm Maggie. I work at the University of Minnesota, and I actually have to hop onto another meeting at 12:15. So I just had a quick ask, yeah. I'm like so flustered. I don't know if anybody else feels completely flustered by this week. So words are hard. I work in the parent and family ed program, and I have a student who is up in Ely, Minnesota, and they are, most classes have gone online. There's classes that have been canceled just with COVID and cold and snow. And I'm really trying to help her get her hours for student teaching this semester so she can get her license. And in order to do that, she needs to observe some classes. And so I'm just coming on here. I know everyone is so busy, so I feel awful even just like asking people to do things, asking more of people. But if anybody has a connection of someone who's doing an online class or who is doing an online class yourselves and would be okay with someone just a student teacher popping in to your class. It would just be one, it wouldn't be ongoing, to get some extra hours in the month of January, because she just hasn't been able to get as many hours as she's wanted to. I would be forever grateful to support this student. So that was my ask.
So Maggie, we last night in our first Zoom for student teaching, Kira, can you turn that down for a second? Someone, because of this, what you're speaking of, someone created a Google Doc, and I'll share it with you. And it's hoping that parent educators that are willing, like Nikki just popped in, to open up their classes for this particular reason, because we're all like flexing right now. So I will share that with you. I can share it with the group. Well, the group as well, because you can pop in if you're willing to let someone observe.
And Leah, does it include contact info, like for people's email?
I'm not sure. We just did it on the fly just because of this question. People are just scrambling, like, how are we going to get our hours in? And then we just came up with it on the fly. So I think, it's a Google Doc. You can put your info in.
Okay. Yeah, if you could share that, and then especially if there's contact, like a place for people's email, then they can do like Nikki did, and Chris is doing, where they're putting down, and Ellen, the times and the type of class it is. But then if they have their email, then the student probably could just contact them directly, or maybe through Maggie, if that's what is that okay? Yeah.
That is fine. I'm happy to facilitate anything I can do. Yeah. And I mean, on top of like all of the brilliant minds there are in this room, of like, I'd love just to get her to some different classes and some different teaching styles. Anything between that can cover this winter, so she can get some hours in too. So thank you. I appreciate everyone so much. I will follow up with some people in the chat. Thank you.
Do you want to pick somebody?
Who hasn't gone? Greta, have you gone? No. Okay.
Hi, I'm Greta Nelson, and I'm a parent educator at Cambridge Isani Schools. And things are going well. We are ending our last week of first semester this week and into Monday, Tuesday next. And then we start a new semester. So that's exciting. But we are losing our second parent educator probably at the end of February. And she's down in Isanti. Her name's Angie Reed. She's awesome. And we're going to be missing her. She's going to do virtual this spring. The school board, or the powers that be, said she could do all of her parent ed classes from Fort Worth. So she's going to do that, and several other jobs that she does, which is going to be nice to ease it. But in the fall, we'll be looking for full-time parent ed, probably other pieces as well. She's done a lot of stuff with preschool, not coordinating fully, but just additional pieces there. So if people know of people, we'll be looking in Cambridge for somebody come fall. But things are going well. It's busy. I've got 9 people on a waiting list for my 1 and 2-year-old class right now. And so I'm trying to figure out how we can get another class, which is good. And then 3 families on a 2 and 3s class. So I'm trying to figure out what to do with them as well. But that's good problems. I'll take those problems. That's good. So anyway, Shelly, how about you?
Shelly Doran. I'm a parent educator in TOSA for District 196, which is Apple Valley, Rosemont, Egan. And we're just trying to survive all the subs that we need. So it was a very busy week. So, but it's going well. We're figuring it out. Nikki, did you go yet?
Not yet. I'm Nikki Murphy, and I am in Robbinsdale area schools. We were distance learning this week, and we just got news yesterday or afternoon, that we are distance learning again next week, hoping to go back the following week. As much as I kind of feel overwhelmed by the shift again, just because it's like, oh, are we really going to do this again? I was beyond impressed with all of my groups. I gave them a lot of grace and I told them whatever you need to do while we're having discussions, you need to attend to your kids, you need to sign off. I said, please just let us know and we have grace. 100% of all of the families stayed until the last minute. These parenting discussions were exactly as we had hoped. And so I feel, I guess, lighter a little bit because of their capacity to not only engage, but to just follow through with how they've already been navigating groups the whole school year. So that does give me a sense of relief. And so now we are planning for next week, and I just cross my fingers that we do get to go forward in person. So I am actually not sure who needs to still introduce because I got on late. Naomi.
I'm Naomi Huso. I am with Wayzata Public Schools. Frantically trying to get everything ready to go for my maternity leave, but overall it's been a pretty good week. Low attendance, but just trying to stay healthy as we're still in person. So unfortunately watching coworkers go down pretty much daily at this point, and I think we can relate to Shelley and Robbinsdale with subs and people getting pulled in different directions, and we're just making do. So Mary Kay, have you gone yet?
Naomi,
Yeah.
did you find, I'm guessing, did you find someone to?
We did. Elizabeth Holloway is going to be taking over for my ECFE classes, and we're super excited to have her. She's got half of her stuff ready with HR. We're just waiting for her to get her email assigned, and then I'm gonna just dump everything. I did lesson plans for all 7 of my classes for now to the end of the school year, and I have them all ready to go in files, and basically said, here's what you need if you want it, or come in and completely change everything I've done and make it your own. So we're very excited to have her. Mary Kay, if you want to share, I don't think you've got a chance. You're on mute.
Sorry, and the reason I keep popping off video is because I'm eating lunch and it's not that pretty to watch. Oh, and I have something else on there. I teach I'm a parent educator in Burnsville, Egan, Savage, District 191, and have been there like an awfully long time, and also have taught in Cambridge Isani, Norwood Young America, Edina, Eden Prairie, and one more that's slipping my mind. So it's a long history. So anyway, glad to be here. Thanks. Is there anyone else who hasn't shared? Kelly? Kelly may not be at the screen right now.
Yuji.
Yuji, I'm sorry, Yuji. I wasn't paying good enough attention. Okay.
Hi everyone. So interesting. I mean, I got my license for parent educator in Minnesota, and now I moved to Montana, Whitefish, Montana. No one knows what that means, like a licensed parent educator here. So I mean, it's yeah, it's challenging. I mean, to explain. When they don't have that in any other state, right? So it's interesting. Well, I'm trying. So it's a new year, and I kind of exciting for this new year. But also I'm interviewing my the parents in my class for my research, and I feel like very rewarding. I mean, that is very surprise to me how much they learned or how much change is going on in their life and their family and their children because of attending parent education, right? It's just so exciting. And also I received a lot of very good advice, like kind of, I mean, just wow, just so good, right? So for how to improve the class. So that is great. And yeah, so right now I'm still teaching voluntarily, no pay, teaching online a virtual parent class, and I'm graduating with my master's in June. And so I'm, kind of in the time start preparing, looking for some kind of positions with income. So that is right now I am at. And I think we still have one didn't share. I think Carissa.
Sure. I'm Carissa.
Yeah.
I'm in Mounds View. Yeah, things are going well. We're on a semester break as well this week and next week. Super low numbers last week, the last week of class, but all my classes are full for second semester except for infants. So fingers crossed. And even a couple that we added, we had families, individual families that we added an extra. We're capped at 10, but we went to 11 for just a couple families. So things are going well.
Great. Well, thank you, everybody. And as you can see, the Kelly put in chat, she has a very slow connection, so she's not using video, and we understand that. But she's a parent educator in Cloquet, and she said that she's got a lot of families that are gone with sickness and COVID. Whew. Well, thank you. I want to open it up, but I have a very brief question. And that's for Naomi. And this is about the transition for you, as we're talking about, all the adaptations of being online, then being in person, and then the school district does whatever, and then we're back online. So one of the standing pieces of conversation we've had over the weeks has been about attendance and then sickness and adaptations and families that you've held on to and families you've lost. But I was also thinking about Naomi's transition of her leaving on maternity leave, and then a long-term sub coming in. And I just wonder what that does to families. I mean, in terms of losing. One of the things that I discovered while I've been in Minnesota and I've worked with parenting educators is how much you all can be like a spiritual presence for families, like such an anchor for them. And nothing against the sub who is coming in for you, Naomi, right? But I could see some trepidation by maybe a few families that they're losing you, right? And is it going to be the same, and that sort of thing. And transitions always happen, of course, we understand that. So I'm just curious, in Naomi, how is the transition handled in terms of, sort of thinking of that presence of you in parents' lives with the sub? Is she coming in part of the time? How is she being introduced? How are you keeping the pulse of sort of families' emotions about your being gone? I was going to say your passing. I was just like, God, no, but you're being gone for a while, So, and also kind of related to that is just the family celebration for you, because I know that, you're just being held in their hearts. But anyway, what is that transition like? And that might be a general conversation for everybody, but since you're the one facing this significant transition, Naomi, how is that handled in where you are?
Yeah. So Elizabeth was able to come last week. I'm getting my weeks all blurred together now. I think it was last week. She came Monday. And Monday I teach a back-to-back class. So I have a class that ends at 10:30 with a class that starts at 10:30. So I wanted her to kind of see some of those tricky situations that I face. And she was welcomed warmly by the families. It was really nice to have her meet, two of my groups. And then she came again on Thursday for my baby class in the morning, and then again in the evening for my 12 to 24 month class, because again, it's a little bit of a different dynamic, and we switched classrooms and she has to rearrange a classroom And I thought it was really nice to have her there so that she could meet some of those families. They had a face to go with the name. Unfortunately, with just everything going on, she's not able to come to all of my classes. And so what I've done is I've really talked her up to my families and shared how much I'm excited to have her and how, I really just feel like she's a great fit for our program and she's going to really enjoy the groups. I've also shared with her just information about each group. So she has in each of my folders, like a little, I can't keep things into a one-page thing, but it's like just like general notes. What do you need to know about this class and general notes about the families so that she has some of that information. But I also appreciated the feedback that I got in this group. And what I've done is the week that she starts, I have a topic that is really conversational based and more of like something I would teach in the beginning of the year of like getting to know you, even though the families know each other and have those strong relationships. I wanted to give her that opportunity to get to know the families and they can get to know her as well. I also think too, just her teaching style from what I've, the short conversations we've had, I just feel like she's going to be a fantastic fit. And it sounds like her goals for Parent Ed and like what she tries to achieve in the classroom is really similar to like my goals and building those relationships, which I think we all have. But I mean, I think I'm doing my best to lead them. And I think too, yeah, families are super excited for me. And I'm also just, I think it's going to go really well. And I hope it goes really well for her. And hopefully I answered your question.
Oh, sorry, there we go. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. I was just curious what that transition, was like, just as it is for kids, for adults, sometimes transitions aren't easy either, especially when their lives are filled with them. We can move on to another topic. Is there anything anyone else wants to sort of say about transitions, how you've handled it, any experiences, any advice, any support for Naomi in addition to what she's experiencing? Things that haven't worked well?
Naomi, I am excited for you. Congratulations early. And I think you have been so thorough. You're so intentional and thoughtful that your groups, I know, I can feel it. They're going to go phenomenally. And they're going to look forward to having you back when you're ready.
Thank you. I like organization and I'm the person that has like my classes and what group is doing what, because I know we've talked about this a lot, and I'm the person that every class of my 7 groups that I teach each week is, some of them are talking about the same thing, but it's not uncommon for me to have 7 different topics in a week. And so I have a whole spreadsheet, and I think my level of organization has been well received by her, which makes me feel good because I basically wanted her to know, I was like, I'm handing this over to you. This may look a little overwhelming, so take and leave what you want. And I've told my families too, if there's a topic that they picked the topics, but I was like, if you guys decide that this isn't what you want to talk about, make sure you let her know. This is still your class, and just make sure that you communicate with her the way they communicate with me. And so hopefully it'll go well.
Yeah, good, thanks. So what can the group do for people today? Are there other things that have come up or questions that you have or any areas that you would like some? Oh, Ellen.
Yeah.
Go.
My very angry father came again this week, refused to put a mask on, called my building administrator a Nazi. So it's not going very well. This week he announced that it's illegal for siblings of the opposite sex to share a bedroom after age 5. And I was like, oh, I hadn't heard that. And he's like, oh no, it's illegal. Yep, absolutely illegal. And I was like, oh my God. So He's coming to back-to-back classes. Our superintendent is going to be outside our classroom, or actually at the front door on Tuesday. And if he does not wear a mask appropriately and he does not put a mask on his child, he will be asked to leave. This is his third chance. So if he actually puts the mask on, regardless, he is a time bomb in my classroom, and he is coming to a multi-age class first with his 3-year-old. And then he switches kids and he brings his toddler to the toddler class second. And I shared with the group last week that he said when his toddler hits him, he hits his toddler back. So obviously this is a dad who, and he was dropping F-bombs on his daughter because she wasn't listening to what he said in the hallway. So yeah, I know you're all like, oh my God.
Ellen, has he been able to share why he's there? Has he been able to share how he's got involved?
He showed up week 2, of course, after we did announcements and things like, like how do you get to know each other and whatever. I have not had a chance to do that with him because he's always ranting and raving about mask wearing. Like there's been no opportunity for us. Bye, Carissa. There's been no opportunity for me to get to know him really. And I did chat with him very briefly. 3 deaths in their family in the past 6 months: suicide, murder, and old age. We've just got, this is a heavy family.
Wow.
And I, he nods, when things are being said and people are sharing things. And sometimes he adds really helpful things to the conversation. And sometimes he just is, I'm on eggshells constantly because I just don't know what's going to come out of his mouth. I've got a good poker face, also, but I can't smile because my mask is on, so while he could say something crazy, I can't even be like, I just feel like the lack of facial expression is not helping me being able to, showing that I'm empathetic, that I hear what he's saying. I don't know. Oh, it's so stressful, you guys. My Tuesdays are awful because I'm in defense mode for 3 straight hours, and that class is done, and I'm just like, oh my God, I need a drink at noon.
Ellen, have you
I don't
heard
know.
anything from other parents in that class?
No. I think they're like, okay, this guy is, I think they all see he's so combative that I don't know that anybody is going to be able to have a conversation with him. My Tuesday group of older kiddos, that's a really nice group of unfortunately, of course, the classes he's coming to, no dads. I have quite a few dads coming. These 2 art classes, there's no dads. I just don't know if they're going to want to get close to him because he's not wearing a mask and his daughter's not wearing a mask. I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know that anyone is going to be like, hey, how's it going? Because he's so explosive. So I know, it's tough. And I know there's probably nothing for me to do except to compliment him when things go really great. I think his wife signed him up. Her name's on everything. So I was surprised when he showed up. I was like, oh, that's not the name that was on the registration form. I don't know why he's there. It's a great question. I don't know. I think his wife maybe thought it would be good for them to get out of the house.
Ellen, I appreciate all of what you're going through, and this is so hard. When you say that maybe you think you haven't really done a whole lot, you have done a ton, first of all, by reaching out for that backup and support. I love that as a first step, having the superintendent present, because that person can create a relationship as well, right? It's not just about that. I'm looking to make sure you're wearing a mask, but maybe, I don't know, maybe he'll appreciate having met the superintendent, that person was present, or I don't know, is caring about programming. My question, and I don't know, because he's so combative, is if he would be open to a one-on-one conversation or dialogue. You could meet via Zoom or Google Meet to have one-on-one parenting conversation. And I don't know how comfortable you would be to share some of what you're experiencing from your perspective, but I just kind of wonder if that would be something that he would find to be supportive, so that you can hear him and he can see your face without the mask.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea. That might be a good idea. Frankly, he frightens me. And he mentioned that his kids sleep in a loft in the top level of their house. And he says it's the safest place in the house for them if we have an intruder come in the house, because if someone comes in the house, they have to get by my room, and I have ways to defend my family. So he just says things. I don't know how to engage in a conversation where he's not in such a defensive mode. And so Zoom, yeah, I would probably do Zoom. I don't know if he would do Zoom. But I do not feel comfortable like doing like a one-on-one thing with him. Maybe in our building we could. But how do I do that? Like, basically, if I say to him, would you want to sit down and chat one-on-one? Would he take that to be like, what, am I not allowed to be in the classroom? Because I can hear him saying that. And I think it's good for him to see other parents and in our parenting. I don't know. It's something for me to think about, Nikki. Thank you. I will think about it. I just don't know if he would be up for it. Mary
Do you
Kay.
think he'll stay, Ellen, when he's mandated to wear a mask?
I don't know. I think up to this point, it's been all women asking him to put on his mask.
Yeah.
And now our male superintendent, that might be we want you to be here. You just have to wear a mask. I don't know. I mean, maybe he'll do it. Maybe he won't. I honestly don't know. I can totally see him saying, forget you guys, I'm out of here. Except not saying forget you, saying another expletive and leaving. Mm-hmm.
Well, and if that's true, he's making that decision himself.
True. That is true.
But one line of questioning that might be helpful, and it may be wise to wait until after you see if he's staying or not, is to ask if he wants to talk online then, and then ask him, what are the things he's hoping for that his children get out of this, so that you can try and help make sure those things happen.
Yeah.
Especially because he missed the first day. You could tailor it as, hey, we missed the first day. We go through lots of information. I'd love to have a one-on-one with you if that's something you're interested in.
Yeah. And see, this class was all repeat families. So I didn't do that. What are your hopes and dreams? Do you know what I mean?
He doesn't know that.
It showed up in September because we did that the first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So this is and he missed. So not only is he coming into an already established group, but he also came in on so
does that give you a position then, Ellen, to be able to say,
yes, it does.
And because you missed a couple, I just thought it might be helpful. If we connected at some point, because it'll just give you a little lay of the land. And then in that you can kind of get a feel for his reasons for being there.
Yeah. Because up to this point, I've just been like, oh my God, please don't swear in front of these children. You know what I mean? Like I've just been so concerned about him exploding that I have had trouble engaging in conversation with him. So that's a really good idea. Oh, you guys are brilliant.
I don't want to miss
go ahead.
I don't want to miss what I heard you say is that you're scared of him, and it's a lot of work to be with this person, just being with this person in this environment and not knowing if there's going to be something that comes out of his mouth or an action that's going to be disruptive and challenging. So like, I don't want to miss what you're saying and what you're feeling, because that, all of us know what it's like in that moment of the unknown, and how to move through that. So yeah, it's a lot. And depending on, your capability in that moment too, to deal, I mean, it's not, and you're doing a lot, like Nikki said, you're doing a lot of work and so don't think you're not, but just managing your own mental health in this kind of, I mean, he's definitely like a snapshot of so many of people in our lives, right? Like maybe over fearful and feels like this is my chance to have some agency in this, life, and I'm going to exert myself, and whatever the case may be, that's not yours to unravel. But what is yours to like move through is make sure there's like mutual respect and openness to other family situations and other viewpoints. So yeah, and that's hard. But
yeah, it's a lot of mental work. And then, I feel like I also have to protect the other families. When he says something, I can't let them leave thinking that what he said is, I have to, like when I shared last week when he said he hits his toddler back, I had to say very quickly, because I have a couple other families in there who are first time parents, I had to quickly say, yeah, sometimes it's really like, we want them to understand that this is tit for tat. You hit me, I hit you, and maybe you don't like that. But then I talked about the brain, and 18-month-olds don't understand cause and effect. And, the best way is to create safety and say, I'm not going to let you hit me, and create that boundary, blah, 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 blah. While not belittling, not shaming, reframing it. So the other families who are like, oh, maybe I'll hit my toddler back. Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. And my brain is just going. It's exhausting. And I want him to be there, but I also want to be able to be in a good mental space where I have access to my brain. And you guys, this is my 10th year. And this is, I've had parents who were on the edge, I think we've all had parents who are, sometimes say things, but this is a whole other level for me. Whoop, we really leveled up here. And it's just been a while. It's been a while since I've had anybody really fight back. So yeah. Yes, Yuji. I feel like I'm a teacher and I'm calling on students.
Thank you, Alan. I so feel for you. I really appreciate you brought this up, because I think this is so great learning opportunity for us, because of us. We are professional parent family educators, but we are not therapists, right? So I think I'm thinking about those, the family, so levels of family involvement for parent family educator. I think this is really good, right? So the level, I feel like this, some families, maybe this is a case, right? So it can be level 4 or level 5. So level 4 is a systematic assessment and planned intervention. So I think parent education is more so, we are trained to prevent, for prevention, not intervention, right? And also the next level will be family therapy. So in many times, in situations, I really agree with you. First of all, you do need to protect yourself and the other families in the class. And right now, I do not have a strategy for you what to do. I feel Nikki's, and Greta's idea for carefully try to see, if he's open to a safe conversation for you, between you and him. I think that is something, you can further find out what is the next step we can do. Maybe you're lucky, the superintendent will kick him out. well, we do. I just joking. We want to help him. We want to help this family.
Yeah.
But yeah, so thank you so much for sharing this. And I really feel I'm with you.
Oh, yeah. And I know relationship, this is like the only thing I think that's going to make anything move forward as building a relationship with him. Which is it occurred to me how difficult that is to do when you're in a defensive place. And you're worried. How do you get to know someone when you're just like, I don't know what you're going to say next. So it didn't hit me until like, you are going to be a very difficult person for me to get to know. Because I don't think he wants to talk about, I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't think he really wants to talk about why he's there. I don't, he may not want to be there,
So,
maybe he does. I don't know.
yes,
So I'll
so
find out.
Ellen, while you're talking, I kind of something came to my mind. So we talk about conscious discipline, right? So, and maybe you can use that, focus on the positive behavior and encourage him. And also you mentioned like you are wearing a mask and it's hard for you to smile. But the thing is, doesn't matter you wear mask or not, when you smile, they can feel that. They can feel that from your eyes, right?
Mhm,
So that
yeah.
this kind of kindness and warmness and, this, I feel if you, we might try to just focus on the positive. And every time you find, every class, you find one thing he did well and just go from there.
Mhm. Oh yeah. He's doing great thing. He's like one of the first dads I've seen crawl all the way under like the building structure we have. And I was like, oh my gosh, you fit under there. Like, like I would think I'd get stuck, And he and his son were like smacking hands and throwing shaving cream everywhere. It made a mess, but they were having fun. So I am finding they are doing some really nice things together. But that's the thing. He's so like hot and cold, 1 minute he's laughing in the classroom and then out in the hallway, he's swearing at his child, so yeah, it's just a lot. It's a lot.
Ellen, would you ever, is this a case where you would ever feel the need to call protective services?
I don't know him enough yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I've only had to do that once.
I also think you're comparing him to your typical ECFE families, and he's probably just not.
Oh no, not
Yeah,
at all.
and I'm not going there. I'm not saying.
Right.
that.
I mean,
was
when
curious
you
based
said
on what you were saying.
Yeah, when you said that, Susan, and I've been thinking, I teach parenting at a shelter as well. And he's, the stuff I hear and see is just, it's like him.
Yep.
Like, but he's in a class with other typical parents. So that's where you're kind of getting that, oh my gosh, you're swearing.
Massive
saying,
juxtaposition.
Right. So you're trying to protect the families that
right,
and figure this guy out.
Right.
So you're in a
and I used to do some shelter stuff too,
Yeah.
but I was with the women. It was a women's shelter.
Yeah.
And yeah, what I'm hearing from this dad
Yeah.
in the classroom space is what I heard from
Yeah.
the moms of the men that they left.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. Yep.
So it's two worlds just.
Yep.
Mhm.
We always get pushback to like try to get your shelter families to come to ECFE classes, and I'm like, oh,
it's not.
like,
they
it's
will
just a
stand out.
different. The stuff that they need to talk about is totally different, and so that support's not the same.
Well, and what I didn't tell you guys is how this dad looks. I mean, he shaved, very long, actually beautiful braid. He has long hair and it's braided down the back and tattoos on his shaved head. So he walks in the room and automatically you're like, wow, he does not look like all these other moms in a class of just moms. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that from the start sets him apart from the rest of the room, which is, I think, hard too.
Well, and that's done very
And
purposefully
he's
on his part. He has set himself to look differently, act differently, be differently on purpose. And his actions are showing it too. And I think you're just doing the right thing, like delight in his child, and you have that child in common. And the other parents aren't going to say anything to you because they feel for you. Like, it's so obvious. There's no way anybody's going to say anything because they're just like, oh my God, poor Ellen. Because
I did have
no.
one mom when he was ranting and raving and calling my administrator a Nazi. I had one mom across the room. She was masked, right? And she was like, I could see her eyes were this big and she did this to me. Like I could see in her, like she put her hand on her heart and I was like, oh, I kind of felt that. It was like a warm hug from across the room, but she literally was like, and she was all the way over there, but she could hear him raised voice. And yeah. Mary Kay, I think you were going to say something too. You're muted though.
One of my questions is, do you have any concern about your own or the other parent's safety in that setting? Because if you do, I would want you, I'm more direct than some. I would want you to talk to your administrator or someone who could provide backup, whether it's another teacher in the hallway or an adult who will just wander through your class once or twice, or maybe even walk outside your parent ed room to check out the volume.
Yeah.
It's one of the things when you were talking about brain science, it reminds me that when we're agitated, our brains don't work as well either.
No.
And so if we're scared or if we're concerned and all those kinds of things. Also to share that when I have an all dads class, which I realize this isn't, the first thing I ask them is, for those of you this is your first class, how many of you were signed up by your wife for this class? And almost every hand raises it. And then I say, and those of you who've been in this class before, how many of you are here of your own free will? And thankfully, most of them have said, now they're that. But some of that's just a strategy of how families work. She does the invitations, the social stuff, the planning. He does the showing up. And one proviso I would offer about Jen, about he made himself look that way. Yes, he did. But there may be other reasons for that in the other context he lives in. And it's not to look different from the moms in Northfield.
Right.
It's to say other things. So
they're new to town as well. They came from the cities. I think they came from Mounds View. So yeah, no, I don't feel unsafe, Mary Kay. I don't. I mean, he scares me in just his demeanor and that he's going to say something crazy at any given moment. When I said he scares me, that's more than what my fear, but I'm not afraid for us. But having someone, having my administrator kind of do a loop, that's not a bad idea. And I really like that. And I have multiple staff in my building who would do that for me. So that's a good suggestion. Thank you. Well, thanks you guys. That's really helpful. And I think I'll, just sit with, maybe I'll give them a piece of paper of like, what are your goals? What are you hoping for? What do you need? And then I can say, we can sit and talk about it. You can write it. We can do a Zoom, something along those lines. So thank you. I don't want to take up everything in case anybody else has any burning issues in the last 10 minutes that they want to get to. So I appreciate
Well,
you.
Ellen, I just want to chime in and just reinforce that what you're facing, of course, is a very, very, very hard situation. And I don't think I'm the only one on the meeting today that is sitting there going, thank God it's not me, so I mean, as you're talking, I'm thinking, what are the structures I have in place at the university when student, do whatever. And yeah, I mean, it's, we don't generally go there first. We handle it, but I want to get to what Yuji was saying as well, is when we think about, what we do. No, we're not therapists. We're not doing intervention, that kind of thing. We're there to educate, but we're holding our role as educators to everybody in that room, right? We don't teach one-on-one. And so I can get kind of pissed, like angry sometimes, because this person is monopolizing my psychic energy, because they're being disruptive and they're not being able, and I'm not, and sometimes it's not overtly disruptive. Sometimes it sounds like this dad is seeking some power, right? If he has all those losses in his life that quickly, and they've moved to a new area and he's gaining his footing and all of those things, this guy is, seeking some power there. And so intentional or not, it still is robbing my attention or your attention and that thing to do your job, right? To be a good educator to everybody there, to facilitate meaningful conversation and learning. So that is the job that we do. And ferreting out when we need to refer to therapy, when we need to refer to social services, when we need to do to these other levels. Yeah, that's part of our job too. So anyway, but thank you for asking the group, and thanks to everybody. And welcome to Sarah down there eating her cereal or whatever she's It's great to see you, honey. You're back. Yeah, so we've got like 8 minutes left here or so. So what else can we do for y'all?
I had to like, I have class until, you guys, it goes forever and it's good. It's actually a joy that I'm always late for this. The later I am really people, most of the time it's because it's good because
Oh,
I have baby class and I had so many babies today, friends, like so many. I had this cute, I shouldn't say that because that's probably offensive, but I don't know. This young dad come today with his baby by himself. Amazing. I had another young dad come with his partner and their baby. And I just like, I had 2 3-week-old babies coming. It was such a lovely, I don't know. It was a lovely day of a mixed array of everyone. And there were so many people, we could barely fit him in the room. It was very lovely. Anyway, that's all.
thanks for sharing that, Sarah. That's almost like the antithesis of Ellen's dad, not the antithesis, but as you're talking, I'm thinking, how wonderful would it have been if, Ellen's dad, like Bob, whatever his name is, if Bob had had the opportunity with his first child to come to, just he and his child to come when he was an infant, when the baby was an infant, and be part of a wonderful, supportive community. And yeah. How usual is that? For those of us, like we teach about families, and unfortunately there's such a default around motherhood, right? There's still, right? And mothers as caregivers and policy wise and things like that. And then you'll hear people go, no, but there's changes afoot, and men are far more involved in fathering. What do you all see? What are you
That's
seeing?
something interesting. This dad had a baby at 17 that was given up for adoption. So there's all kinds of stuff. So and when you think about that, like he was a young dad and he wasn't even in the child's life. So there's that too. Yeah. So you're bringing it full. Yeah.
I have a lot, I would say I have a father probably, like I have a dad in I'd almost say every class. I mean, I teach like 12 classes. I probably have at least one, if not more. I have a lot of dads that come to class. And because the work schedules and everybody's stuff. Yeah. It's just either one or the other, or sometimes both or whatnot, or just dad. Yeah. I have a lot of dads that show up here, but I don't have a dad's class right now. I don't.
We have a lot of dads that show up, but for the last 5 years, we haven't run a dad's class because last time we put it in the brochure, no one signed up for it. No one was interested in the dad's class, but I would say of my 7 classes, I think 5 of them have at least one dad that shows up, but most of them have more than one dad. And I always make a point to like connect with those dads and just like say, like, I'm really glad you're here. I think it's really important that, in a group of mostly moms, that they get to hear your voice and your perspective too, because I think every parenting partner brings something special to their parenting. And I think sometimes it's just good for a dad to be around. So for moms to hear someone else's perspective.
I see your question, Susan, too. And we do have a dad's class. And then we do have a bunch of dads in all of our classes as well. We just had a professional development day and read over our parent evals. And I was reading over the dad's ones, and lots of them were like, they want more content and snacks and better snacks in the parent room. It was hilarious. Like, can they have beer? Can they have, but they actually, like, the serious part of it is they wanted more content, and those dads really do love being together. But yeah, we have a lot of dads in our classes. I would say, for sure 1 or 2 in every class, which it hasn't always been typical.
I would say the same here. And we also have a dad class that's at night. It's called Date.
That's what
Date
ours
with
is at
Dad.
night.
And so it's a pizza class. So we get pizza. So it is a lot more food.
I know, that's what they want. Can we have better snacks?
I
want
love
goldfish.
I love that idea of a dad class at night.
That's when ours
Me
is.
too.
It's
I
full
love
with
that
wait
idea.
lists all the time. It's never not full.
Interesting.
I did have some really strong apologies for going ice fishing one time though. They came back the next week. I'm sorry, but the ice was way too good. I had to get out there and I took my son with me. I go, well, great, way to go. So no, it's good. It is good. And they come like it's deer in headlights kind of the first time. And then they start seeing and watching and then they start connecting and I love it. I love it. But yeah, content, not a lot of mushy. I mean, some mushy just because I'm me and I'll let them know that. But yeah, it's really good.
I'm really glad to hear that there are so many dads that are showing up because in our society, this is so new for dads to have a space. And even looking around in other aspects of our life, there's not many spaces when men can gather and talk things out, talk about things that are hard or even feeling an emotion. And so just like cultivating those spaces is so essential, I think, to all of us, to bettering society. And just such an opportunity in this like parent ed world to, you know, have a focus of the children and like how can we, and all these dads, you know, maybe they didn't have a modeling, you know, they're charting something out that's new for them. Stereotypically, I mean, all of us have different levels of modeling that our parents showed us, but hi. But you know, especially for dads, just not having that opportunity. So kudos to everyone for creating that space.
I also think there's something about dads being in a space where mom isn't hovering. Moms hover. They're, you know, and I think it's just nice for a dad to be able to get messy with his kid and not have mom be like, oh, don't get it on the sweatshirt. That's just what I see when dads do come to class. Like, I have a day off of work. I'm here. I'm like, great. We love it when dads come. And the moms are like, oh, that's getting messy. I'm just like, zip it. Let them play in the paint, you know? So yeah, you've got my wheels turning. I love it. Thank you.
I also like when there is a dad that comes that also has a mom or if a partner is coming during the day and then they hear some of the same languages and they hear other people using that language or they hear that somebody else said, oh yeah, my wife or my partner was just saying today about da 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 da, and here we are talking about it. And I don't know, there's something cool about that too. It creates more of a network of connections for that family. I don't know, it's kind of fun.
I don't even remember what the topic was, but my husband used to take my twin sons to ECFE one late afternoon a week. And one day he comes home and he's reading to me from this handout. And he says, oh, what Jordan told us is just brilliant. And he's reading to me from a handout that I wrote. and you know, and I just kind of, you know, I remember telling Jordan, but he heard it when you said it. That's the most important thing. He heard it when you said it. So, you know, having someone else be able to say things that their wives might be saying too, but and the same to moms to say, you know, if you care that much about your children getting messy, the first time they stain something at ECFE, make that their ECFE uniform. Come back every week in it. We won't think they don't have any other clothes, but you just won't worry about it getting stained.
I have a lot of moms who are like, I try to get my husband to come so he can hear these things you say, because I think he would listen to you. Or they're like, can you just come hang out at our house for an hour and do a home visit just so you can say some of these things? And they always say, I said to my husband, Ellen says, I'm like, oh yeah, you can throw me under the bus anytime. But that is so funny. I love that. Your own handout.
That's great. That's great, Mary Kay. What a wonderful story. You know,
he heard it when Jordan said it.
Yeah.
Whether it was that she said it differently than I do, you know, probably not the level of irritation I would say when I would say some of those things. So,
Maybe they know us too well, you know, like they see it, they see us 365. So, you know, what we say just sort of blends in with all those times that we've, you know, forgotten to get gas or not have enough air in the tire, all of these other little faults that we have where it just is, you know, slots into something. And then somebody else says something meaningful, right?
a 1-minute parent ed story. Okay.
Yeah.
So when I was teaching one morning on a Saturday, I was coming home. We have a split entry, and on the left, it was when Tiger won his first Masters. So my oldest son, who was probably 15 at that point, is there to my left watching TV. And to my right, there's a wall, and behind it, there's the twins' bedroom. And it sounded like someone was deconstructing the house there. And so as I come up the steps, I hear my husband say 3 times, "If you don't stop that, I'm coming in there." And when I got to the top step, my 15-year-old put his hand on his dad's knee and said, "If you don't get out of that chair, they will never believe a thing you say." And I went, that's the best parent education I've seen in a very long time. So I know I got to jump off too for community practice, but good to see y'all.
Thank you, everybody. This was again fabulous, fabulous, fabulous. We'll see you again next week. I'll be in Chicago, but I'll be here by virtue of the internet. So stay